What is up, wrestling fans? That's right. It is a late night here on the East Coast. 12:15 a.m. to be exact. So technically early morning on the East Coast.
Yes.
And of course, we've just got done watching AEW's Revolution 2024 Sting's final match in professional wrestling. And you are tuned into the NI Wrestling Presents, the post-show recap for AEW Revolution 2024. So thank you for everybody who's joining us. It is awful late at night, and we do appreciate it. I am your host and the head of NI Wrestling and the host of Wrestling Night Live. My name is Rich, and joining me in the co-pilot seat as he does each and every week, I'm going to abbreviate a little bit, the host of the ODPH podcast, the host of Turn a Page, the comic book showcase every Tuesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the Nerd Initiative YouTube channel, and most importantly, the editor-in-chief of the Nerd Initiative Comics Books Division. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Ken M.
Thank you, Sting. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Sting. But I got to say, rocky road for some people. The only, I'm going to say the only negative, and I'm going to say this up front, the only negative of the night is if you ordered it on BR Live, I guess there was outages.
Yeah, hearing a lot of negative things about that. That was probably the only thing we heard negative about it, but definitely in the chat, super chat, make your voice heard.
Yeah, if you had any issues, let us know if you had issues with BR Live.
Yes.
For sure. Of course, Tony Khan, give him credit, man. Tony Khan came right out and headed and addressed it right away on Twitter. Hopefully everybody got that rectified. And you got to watch the event, baby, because it was a good event.
Yes.
I'm going to go on the limb. I'm going to bury the lead. I think this was possibly the best AEW pay-per-view in a couple years. And that's saying something. That's because there's other good ones. It's not like there's other bad ones.
Quite some time.
Yeah, and I'm not saying that that's a bad thing because there's other great ones, you know. So let's just dive into the show. I'll talk about the particulars at the end. You guys already know, nerdinitiative.com. Go ahead and make sure you're subscribed to the YouTube channel and wherever you're watching us on. So no need to just stretch that out. Let's jump right into the show. And we're going to talk about the pre-show real quick. We don't have graphics for the pre-show because there was just a couple matches. First was a 12-man tag team match. It was the Bang Bang Scissor Gang, Max Caster, Anthony Bowens, Billy Gunn, Austin Gunn, Colton Gunn, and Jay White, collectively your AEW Trios champions and your ROH six-man champions. And they defeated the team of Jeff Jarrett, Satnam Singh, Jay Lethal, Willie Mack, and Private Party, Isaiah Cassie, and Mark Quinn. 12 minutes and 25 seconds. Listen, it was fun. I had a lot of fun with it. I'm just going to say it was basically, hey, let's get some people on the show.
Yeah, it was what it was. I mean, nothing really to write home about. The only thing I guess people are making some noise about was Max Caster messed up his rap again.
Yeah, there was that. And I also got to say, Jay White, man, just doing the hype show at the beginning, I was kind of disappointed in that a little bit. I love Jay White, though. That's just my own personal bias. The only other match we got in the beginning was a women's division tag team match as Chris Statlander and Willow Nightingale would defeat Julia Hart and Sky Blue. 13 minutes, 30 seconds. This match was what it was.
Yeah,
there was some sloppiness and some timing issues, but outside of that, it was still, it was good.
It was what it was. I mean, they want to get the crowd going. It was solid for what it needed to be, but yeah, nothing really right home about, in my opinion.
That was a decent, I think they could have cut it back to an hour of the pre-show, though.
Yes.
Because an hour and a half was a little long, especially only with two matches. And we've already seen the packages, but let's dive into the show, the main show, of course. All this coming to you from the Greensboro Coliseum in Greensboro, North Carolina. And the first match of the actual event would be for the AEW TNT Championship. Your champion, Christian Cage, with Killswitch Mother Wayne and the prodigy Nick Wayne in his corner. So the whole patriarchy taking on Daniel Garcia. In this match, I'm going to say it. I thought this was a great match, and although I think they missed a huge opportunity because at the end of the day, 16 minutes, 50 seconds, Christian Cage, and still your AEW TNT champion. Little help from the patriarchy, obviously, but I feel like this was a time we could have really crowned Daniel Garcia.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think they dropped the ball here. Garcia had really put in some work. The crowd was definitely into this match. Great opener, but yeah, I think that this was the opportunity if you're going to move the belt off Cage. It would have made sense to go to Garcia. Now I'm just kind of curious, are we just setting this up for him and Copeland?
Positive, it was a good match. Negative, Matt Menard fighting off Killswitch.
Yeah.
That was kind of strange.
Yeah, the visual presentation of that just looked off.
But overall, good match. Nice way to start the show. Good way to set a pace. Once again, I understand Christian is just holding, we're keying on Adam Copeland as soon as he's, cleared to wrestle. and that's what it's going to be. So no surprises there. The next match, though, was for the AEW Continental Crown Championship, which of course is the AEW Continental Championship, the ROH World Championship, and the NJPW Strong Openweight Championship. And by the way, there was a stipulation: if Bryan Danielson was to lose, he had to shake the hand of Eddie Kingston. And of course, that your champion Eddie Kingston would defeat Bryan Danielson 19 minutes 45 seconds. And this match was a banger.
Oh my God, yeah, this is just strong style at its finest. Great storytelling. And really, I thought they really kicked into gear with the card after here.
Agreed. I mean, you started up. I'm not complaining about the opener. It did what it had to do, but this match, I think, really got the crowd into it. The crowd was ravenous from this time on in that match. I thought they did an amazing job. Eddie Kingston, man, showing why he tells some of the best stories in the ring.
Oh, yeah.
And same with Bryan Danielson. I mean, I think the biggest story that come out of the match itself is Bryan Danielson, the technical, expertise that he has. He abandons that at one point in juncture to try to get in a strike fest with Eddie Kingston. And at the end of the day, that costs Bryan Danielson the match in a lot of ways.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like Eddie Kingston and Bryan Danielson, and at the end of the match, you got this beautiful moment. It literally looked like the handshake was going to come. Bryan Danielson said, I was kind of messing with you. Gives him the handshake, raises the arm, and then gets the crowd to chant for Eddie. And then there was a nice little package that they put on the social medias of Bryan Danielson and Eddie Kingston in the back. Eddie Kingston having an emotional moment, thanking Bryan because he always just wanted to impress him. And Bryan, after that, saying, you know what, we maybe rode him too hard. Maybe I kept a grudge for too long, but damn, he earned my respect. Bottom line. And I thought it was a great time. I thought it was a great story. And I think there was a lot of real life ramifications there as well.
Mm-hmm.
So nothing I can say. Anything else you would like to lay about it? Because once again, one of the match of the night candidates.
It was it was a great showing for Eddie Kingston. I love the little storytelling that's going from here. The only thing I guess I'm left over with is, okay, where does the BCC go from here? More importantly, does Eddie side with them? Like I say, it's been a real interesting story about how they're trying to build a respect factor. So I don't know if this just means like maybe they shift Eddie with them, because it seems like the BCC is now turning into a fan favorite faction.
Maybe. So, I don't know. I think that either way, I'm along for the ride.
Yeah, same here.
Next up, we had the All-Star 8-man scramble match. Winner of this match would get a AEW World Championship match. Match got 15 minutes, 45 seconds. At the end of the day, Wardlow defeated Chris Jericho, Powerhouse Hobbs, Lance Archer, Hook, Brian Cage, Magnus, and Dante Martin to become the getting a future shot at the AEW World Championship. Of course, this was written on the wall, and once again, not upset about it. There was literally, and I mean, I guess you could have given it to the Jericho or whatever, but let's be honest, storyline-wise, Wardlow had to win this match. And I'm fine that he won the match, but you know what? It was a better match than I anticipated it to be as well. So kudos to the 8 guys in this match.
Yeah, this was probably the most predictable match of the night, I would say, but it makes the most sense, and there's nothing wrong with that. I thought everybody made the most of their time in this, and Wardlow now getting that title shot, it's only a matter of when now they want to go with that storyline that has been prophesized by Adam Cole since he was revealed to be the devil there. So I am now waiting to see how all the pieces kind of shift together. But it was a solid match for what it needed to do. Super chat, make your voice heard about that.
Yeah, absolutely. And once again, sometimes going with the obvious is the way to go. And to advance this storyline, especially with the Undisputed Kingdom, you have to get to that point, and we have to get to that crossroads with Wardlow and with Adam Cole. So we'll see where they take it from here. But next up, speaking of the Undisputed Kingdom, AEW International Championship was on the line. Your champion, freshly squeezed Orange Cassidy, going one-on-one with the Undisputed Kingdom's Roderick Strong. Of course, he had Mike Bennett and Matt Taven out there with him. This match would get... Well, before we talk about the match, what in the hell was Roderick Strong wearing to the ring?
I have no idea. If that was supposed to be Dr. Doom, he missed the mark.
It was like if you when you dress up at Christmas or Halloween, and we've all done this, and you just throw something together. You get the little bed sheet out to use as a cape, and the little Dollar General face mask. I think that's what it was. And I'm not crapping on it. I don't understand the look or why that was a thing on a pay-per-view, especially in this big match. This is a big opportunity for Roderick Strong. First, real opportunity at a championship. I mean, I understand that he's had a world title shot technically, but let's be honest, we all knew he wasn't going to win it. So this was the first time you're going to actually have a shot in 12 minutes and 45 seconds. And your new AEW International Champion, Roderick Strong. So he wins. And after the match, though, at first we thought a fan had jumped the barricade.
Yeah.
I was like, oh man, an Orange Cassidy fan is on the loose and upset, which, hey, he's one of the most over guys in the company. That's a possibility. But meanwhile, it wasn't. It was the return of Kyle O'Reilly. And I'm going to just say it. I saw a comment online. It looked like he had been up for 6 days or just woken up from a 6-month nap.
Yeah.
Either way. And once again, it's not crapping on him. He hasn't been in the ring. It's been a while. But what was perplexing to me is he comes out, he gives the big hug to Roderick Strong. Him and Strong have been friends for a long time. I do believe Mike Bennett was the one. Yeah, it was Mike Bennett. They took his shirt off, the Undisputed Kingdom shirt, and hands it to him. Says, here. And then he puts the shirt over the shoulder of Roderick and he whispers something in his ear before leaving.
Yeah, this was real puzzling. Like, first and foremost, super, super excited Kyle O'Reilly is back.
Mm-hmm.
But the whole sequence after he got in the ring, it just was awkward.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the easiest way to describe it. Because if you wanted to do that, and on Jared from Punch the Timeline, who we were tweeting with all night, he put it best. You could have done that moment on Dynamite. It didn't really mesh with what you were doing at the pay-per-view. Other than, like, you should have just had him maybe come out on the stage, maybe point at Roddy, kind of tease that, and then do the whole, is he going to join the Undisputed Kingdom or not? Like, if you did something like that, it would have made more sense.
To be fair, it didn't ruin anything on the pay-per-view, to be fair. And it didn't even stop the momentum, because that would have been what I was more worried about, because after match 2, the pay-per-view just steamrolled. And it was a beautiful thing. Like I said, I buried it up front. Great pay-per-view, right? And this match was no different. Great pay-per-view. Great match. We got to see some crazy spots. I mean, that backbreaker on that top rope that Roderick gave Orange Cassidy looked like he damn near broke him in half. The Messiah, the backbreaker returns, baby. And, I liked where we went. We got a new champion. And it's moving the story forward. Finally, the Undisputed Kingdom has gold. Remember, we said that he had to win this match, because if he didn't win this match,
it's all for nothing.
It's all for nothing. We haven't seen this big picture. So Wardlow winning and Roderick Strong winning. Now we're back to the Undisputed Kingdom being a threat, possibly. So for storyline purposes, this was great.
Oh, it absolutely was, because Roddy needs this more than anything, especially if you're trying to buy time until whenever Adam Cole is coming back. That's the big question mark right now. But in the meantime, it sets up a little nice feud with him and Orange Cassidy. If Cassidy is going to take time off to heal from his injuries, quote unquote, this really can extend and gives Roddy a time to shine.
Well, let's go over to another match that was really hard hitting, and I loved every minute of it. It was a tag team extravaganza as the FTR would take on the Blackpool Combat Club, Jon Moxley, Claudio Castagnoli, and Claudio and Jon Moxley, they embraced their inner Road Warriors on the intro.
Yeah, I still don't get it, but it is what it is.
They came out with the pads. I don't know if they were like the real deal or if they were what. It doesn't matter. They came out repping the Road Warriors. FTR, of course, always repping that Midnight Express. And great match, by the way. Match got 21 minutes, 50 seconds. Second longest match of the night. Blackpool Combat Club comes out on top. I think this solidifies, like we talked about on the pre-show, solidifies the Blackpool Combat Club as a tag team threat going forward. And also there was a little bit of, and I'm glad they didn't shake hands.
Yes.
But there was a little bit of a stare down where it was like, I respect you. Dax was bleeding all over the place. Moxley not bleeding. Important to announce. But I thought it was a great tag team match overall. It was very brutal, very old school. Your thoughts?
Old school is the perfect way to describe it. It was hard hitting. It really paid a little homage to the teams, like the Road Warriors versus Midnight Express when they used to have their feuds, or Rock and Roll Express and Road Warriors. Like, that is the kind of vibe that came off with this match, and I love how they kind of kept this going. Just now, where do both teams go from here? That's a bigger question that we have to figure out.
Absolutely. But I'm looking for the future. Obviously, when we talk about the main event of the evening, there's a little question mark in that division, so we'll find out what we think about that. But before we get there, Next match on the card was for the AEW Women's World Championship. Your champion, the timeless one, Toni Storm, with Mariah May and Luther in her corner, taking on and defending her title against the virtuosa Deonna Purrazzo. And I just want to throw it out there. Mariah May with the old school Toni Storm cosplay.
Yeah.
For a minute, I thought it was Toni Storm.
I did too. I'm not going to lie about it. I thought like, okay, we're going to go back and reminisce about their history together, but no, it was a great swerve.
But it was cool. So kudos to that.
Yes.
The timeless one. Listen, this match, 12 minutes, 15 seconds at the end of the day, and still your AEW Women's World Champion, the timeless one, Toni Storm. Here's the thing, though. I like this match. I like how it's put together. Deonna Purrazzo got to show off her technical prowess. Probably the best women's technical wrestler in the world, in my opinion. She went out there. She wrestled a great match. At the end of the day, though, between distractions and everything else, and the timeless one using a wonderful stump puller pile driver, gets the victory to retain. I thought this was a good match. I thought that we got what we came to see in this one.
Oh, absolutely. I think that Toni Storm has really been raising her stock in the company with the gimmick and showing in the ring too. And Purrazzo had a great showing in the spotlight. I just think, unfortunately for her, with the rumors of Mercedes Moné coming to the roster, I think, unfortunately, this push is going to be the last time we see her involved in the world title for a while. I'd like to see her go for the TNT or TBS title. I think that would be a great matchup for her. So this one did what it needed to do, and then we just kind of wait for big business in a couple weeks.
Absolutely. We got the next match on the card, and boy, when you talk about bangers, you're going to talk about this. When you talk about match of the year candidates, you're going to talk about this. As making his official AEW contractual debut, the Billy Goat, the aerial assassin Will Ospreay, going one-on-one with Takeshita, of course, both representing the Callis family. And this match was everything we hoped for and more. 22 minutes long. Will Ospreay does get the victory. Oh, man.
Yeah.
We got forearms. We got kicks. We got knees. We got power moves. Will Ospreay has a gigantic bruise on his lower back.
Oh, my God.
From what was supposed to be a top turnbuckle brainbuster that he caught his back on the turnbuckle. He still wrestled the rest of the match in phenomenal fashion. We got to see the Tiger Driver the Tiger Driver 91. We got to see the Hidden Blade. It all came on this match. Takeshita looked like $1 million in this match. You know, at the end of the day, Takeshita would hug Will Ospreay. There's some togetherness. Out comes Kyle Fletcher, your ROH television champion. He gets in the ring. Of course, they're known to be best friends, him and Will Ospreay, that is. And for a minute, it looks like maybe they're going to stand off, but nope, there's a big hug. And then we find out this upcoming Wednesday on Dynamite, it will be Kyle Fletcher versus Will Ospreay. Don Callis once again putting two of his people together. We'll talk about that, but let's talk about the match first. But what did you think about Will Ospreay's debut in AEW, official debut, I should say?
If anybody wasn't familiar with Will Ospreay, you really got the true understanding of why this is a big move for AEW to add him to the roster. This was a fantastic match. This is in the match of the year category already. This proved without a shadow of a doubt that AEW has a bona fide superstar on their roster now. And this will be arguably your world champion contender match he's going to be involved with by All In at the absolute latest. Ospreay did fantastic work in this. Takeshita has been, doing amazing work in the ring too. Like, you couldn't ask for a better dance partner. They put on a hell of a performance. I'm not doubting that Ospreay defeats Fletcher for his belt next week.
Well, the belt's not on the line.
Well, for right now, but I could see him talking into it, or they're going to run it back maybe for the Boston show, and then you're going to really see Ospreay take off.
Yeah, I don't really want him with the Ring of Honor World Television.
I don't either, but I think they're going to just do it so maybe he does something with it and almost goes like on a belt collector spree.
I just think it's not. I think it's not worth having the mixture. I think just push him to the sky. We already see that he's probably one of your top faces, if not the top face in the promotion. I think that's where they should go. That's just personally me.
Sure.
And there's no reason to bog him down with a Ring of Honor title at this point. I think that that's kind of one of those things, and we'll save it for another day, where they need to start separating church from state, if you will. Like I don't need to see Ring of Honor titles on AEW. Let's build the Ring of Honor brand. Let's build and keep AEW separate. There's a lot of people, and the mixing is just kind of like, yeah. And I think the fans are tired of it too, for the most part. And I'm not saying that the guys on Ring of Honor can't wrestle on AEW. I'm just saying I don't need to see an AEW guy. Like when Will Ospreay's of that level that he should be an AEW guy. You should be on the top of your pecking order. He should be in your world title hunt. At the very least, maybe switch plans and slap the TNT title on him, depending upon how long Adam Copeland's going to be out. Because let's be honest, the Adam Copeland feud with Christian doesn't need the belt. You know what I mean?
Oh, no,
the story's there without it.
It doesn't, but like I say, this could be a stepping stone, because I fully think by the time we start getting into, well, I know Dynasty is coming up as they announced, but I think you're going to start seeing the belts get merged into one. I think they're going to slowly but surely get rid of the Ring of Honor titles.
Maybe.
And that's where I'm saying, like, you're going to see champion versus champion. Somebody comes out with a better one.
That's if you're going to get rid of Ring of Honor, but who knows what they're going to do there. It's all going to be dependent on TV deals. I just think it's weird that the Callis family's kind of like, with Don Callis setting it up, it's kind of imploding, but it's weird. I don't get it, but hey, it's not, let's be along for the ride. I'm happy Will Ospreay's here putting on a first match in the territory, if you will, and he's got a match of the year candidate. We're going to be talking about all year. I guarantee it. It's a phenomenal match. If you could get a chance, if you haven't seen it, make sure you catch at least the highlights of this match, because it was a beautiful match. Next up, the next to last match, of course, three-way match for the AEW World Championship. Your champion, Samoa Joe, taking on Hangman Adam Page and Swerve Strickland. Of course, Swerve has got Prince Nana in his corner. This match, we'll just say it right up front, got 19 minutes, 40 seconds, and your winner and still AEW World Champion, Samoa Joe. However, this match had an importance to it. Great match. Mm-hmm. Loved the mixing up. Loved how everybody interacted with each other. But let's be honest. I think we finally got it. Hangman Page is all the way heel. And I think that Swerve Strickland is pretty much all the way face. Swerve Strickland was handed the crown from Prince Nana, refused to use it. On the flip side of things, Hangman Page knocked out 2 referees. Yep. He used the championship belt. He used other weapons. Like he's getting booed. Like he beat the living snot out of Bryce Remsburg. Mm-hmm. After hitting him in the back of the head to stop a count, he just continued pounding Bryce Remsburg into the mat. I think we finally got the full heel turn.
Oh, I would say so. I mean, out goes Hangman Adam Page, and we have Hangman TA, because he's looking more and more like Magnum TA every time we see him. And he fully went heel in this. And this is what has been needed to happen for so long. Swerve now becoming a face is kind of an interesting point, because obviously they reference a lot of the heinous stuff he did during his feud with Adam Page. So it is interesting to see them do the double flip, but it works because obviously the crowd is 100% behind Swerve. The ending to this match, kind of surprising. The commentary I thought was a little interesting, though, when they said, did Hangman just tap out because he got choked out or because he didn't want Swerve to win?
Yeah, it was interesting to me because I don't know if they were building that story, they did it wrong.
Yeah, I agree.
Because he's in the coquina clutch. He ain't getting out. He's in the middle of the ring. Yeah, Swerve is coming. I guess the point was Swerve was slowly making his way towards to maybe break it up when he tapped out. But I mean, he had been in the coquina clutch long enough that if he didn't tap out, he should have been passing out.
Agreed.
So if they were telling that story, and I don't necessarily know if they were, but if they were, I don't think that it came off good.
Yeah,
does that make sense?
Yeah, it's an awkward comment. So yeah, like I say, if that's what they were trying to do, it didn't come off that way.
And the rest of the match came off really well, and the rest of the match told a beautiful story. So I really think that if that was the case, maybe there was a drop ball there, but I would like to believe that there wasn't.
I agree.
I would like to believe that it ended the way it was going to end. Because Hangman Page, for a guy who just didn't want Swerve to win, sure as hell tried to win himself.
Yes.
And I mean, try by any means necessary.
Oh, yeah, that's what I say. That's where the story is. So it's odd for the commentators to mention that.
Yeah.
So like I say, that just kind of throws everything a little off.
Somebody should have probably Iggy'd one of them, but like, nah.
Yeah.
Like, don't start stuff that's not there.
Yeah.
I'm sure the storyline is going to carry on. Obviously, Swerve, he didn't lose in this match. He still has a claim for that belt. Obviously, Wardlow now has a claim for the belt because he won the right to challenge for it. And then, of course, Adam Page being a full-on heel. Expect, bigger things, maybe hooking up with the Young Bucks.
Could happen.
What if we get the All Evil Elite?
Yes.
I'm just throwing it out there. There's a possibility. Speaking of the Young Bucks, it is now finally time to talk about the main event of the evening and the reason why we all were super stoked for Revolution. Now, mind you, AEW does a good job throwing on shows, don't get me wrong. But this match, the Tornado Tag Team match for the AEW World Tag Team Championship matches, and let's just say they should have put it right underneath because it was everywhere. Sting's final match, his retirement match. It was everywhere. I loved everything they did for it. I loved all the build, but of course the match itself, your AEW World Tag Team Champions Sting and Darby Allin defending against the Young Bucks, Matthew Jackson and Nicholas Jackson, the EVPs of AEW. And of course, Sting and Darby had Ric Flair in the corner. He got an entrance to come out. And then we had a special guest timekeeper in the legendary Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. So we got some legends out there. There were some sightings in the crowd from some legends. Of course, shout outs to Stingray, Paul Hauser, who was in the crowd for the event. But here we go, main event time. And let's just start with the fact that all night long we had this nice pageantry for Sting in his final match. There was a great video that was played in the pre-show. Loved it. Was super awesome. And then before Sting comes out, we got this great him sitting in a theater watching the final show, final show time. At the end, saying it's showtime for the last time. Let's go. And he, when we get the music, at first we get the AEW Sting music, but out comes one of his sons dressed as Surfer Sting.
Yep.
His other son would then appear dressed as Wolfpack Sting. And then everything goes black and we get Search and Destroy.
Yep.
And out comes the man called Sting. Last time we were hearing, this is the icon, this is Sting. Tony Schiavone did a great job on commentary, giving us one last time, it's Sting! And we all, rejoiced. And it was nice. I didn't think they overdid it. And here's the best part. They jumped right in the match. As Sting comes in, he whips his coat at the Young Bucks, and it distracts him well. Darby Allin just barrels into him.
Yes.
And I was like, this is how you start the match. And then his sons get involved. We've got Stinger splashes all over the place. And then the tables come out, the ladders come out, and the panes of glass come out. Oh, that's right, ladies and gentlemen. If you weren't watching, panes of glass in Sting's final match.
Deathmatch Sting.
And of course, we got dives in the crowd, dives off the stage. Darby Allin does a sick coffin drop through the glass. And then Sting goes through a table. Sting goes through a pane of glass. I mean, this match was crazy in all the good ways. It was entertaining. It's classic Sting. The Young Bucks hit him with everything. I liked how they flipped it around. And instead of saying, I'm sorry, I love you, they said, we're not sorry, we hate you.
Yeah.
And he delivered the double super kick, to which Sting did not go down. Sting had this, his head goes back and then it comes forward, very slowly. And the Young Bucks are like, oh no.
Yeah.
Oh no. He takes a couple BTE or EVP triggers.
EVPs now.
And then the TK driver is attempted but not hit because Darby Allin coming back after going through that glass, which by the way, cut up that. I've seen guys get cut up for glass. We're not strangers to death matches. But man, Darby at the end of
insane.
He comes back, he dumps him off, and ladies and gentlemen, let's be honest, Sting gets the pin. And still your AEW World Tag Team Champions, Darby Allin and Sting. And Sting wins his final match. And I said on the show, and I'm going to reiterate it here. I'm appreciative of this with Tony Khan. Tony Khan likes to do things counterculture, if you will. He likes to do things that are outside the box in wrestling. I'm enjoying that he did this here. Everybody usually goes by the philosophy that you go out on your back in wrestling. This time, that didn't happen. I mean, and it's not a situation where we were talking about with Okada and he was like, F them kids. I ain't taking no pins. As a matter of fact, not only am I not taking the pin in this multi-man match, I'm going to get my last pin and then cut a promo and say I'm not coming back ever. Meanwhile, you have Sting, who I was very happy that he won. It was fitting. You could have given the belts to the Young Bucks, but that was too predictable. And I think giving the belt to Sting, the only part of this match I have any problem with is that because of shortness of time, we did not get to hear Sting's full. And I'm sure that as we're talking now, Tony Khan's probably rectifying that and getting it up on social media. Yeah. I'm being honest. And when we get done, I'm sure it'll be up.
I fully agree. That's the only thing I find fault with this match. I thought Sting really left the fans with everything was left in the ring. There's nothing you could think of that they didn't try doing this match. I was surprised they went the deathmatch route with the panes of glass. Was not expecting that, but he did promise he wanted to do something different. And for him to really do it at his age, still going at a high rate, I mean, it's phenomenal. And, for the legacy he leaves behind, this is a great final match. I fully believe this is. I don't think he's going to be coming back in 6 months or whatever, but I never say never. But this is a perfect way for him to leave. It's an interesting setup for whatever they're going to do with the tag team titles from here on out. I wouldn't doubt a tourney to get into Dynasty and crown new champions then.
Or maybe have Darby be able to pick his own partner.
Yep.
That would be fine. I think that I'd be okay with that even. I'd be okay if somebody succeeded Sting. Because I think that he's earned that right. So you could either do a tourney and give new champions, or I think we let let Sting pick Darby's partner. Which could lead to some fun stuff.
Do you have any early guesses?
If they were going to do Sting picking Darby's partner, man, that's a tough one. I'm going to say I wouldn't be surprised if it wasn't the young man Hook. I think Sting has taken a liking to Hook, so I think that could be an option. I also think, as like a little further out option to swerve us all, maybe Ricky Starks. Maybe in all those wars that Sting and Darby had with Ricky Starks, maybe that was the respect that was earned. You give the belt to Ricky Starks and you have Darby, strange bedfellows. Mm-hmm. However, it could work if done right.
I think it's going to be Copeland.
It could be. It could be very well. I mean, it's always going to depend on how he's doing injury-wise.
Right.
But, either way, I'm game for whatever. Honestly, I was happy Sting won. I know that sounds weird in a final match when titles are on the line. I'm like, I'm happy Sting won. Mm-hmm. But I thought that was the right call for this. I thought it left with a great moment. And once again, like I said, the only fault, and it's not, Sting wanted to talk, and listen, the man should have been able to talk for as long as he wanted, but that's not how pay-per-view works.
Right.
So it did cut off. But like I said, I'm positive that when we get off of this stream, because we went right to it, that the whole video will be up by AEW, because Tony usually does a good job about that. Mm-hmm. But it was nice that Sting got to talk, and it was nice that we got to see, have him go out. And like I want to reiterate what you said. I do believe this is his final match.
Yes.
I don't think 6 months down the road we're going to see another Sting match. And the reason I say that is because I view that Sting views things like The Undertaker viewed it, and you're looking for that right match. This was it. Like, originally we didn't think a tag team match was, sold. And then we got sold on the story, and the story was great. And then the match lived up to what we wanted to be. So for a final match for Sting at his age, why let people see you diminish when you could go out? And honestly, Sting still has it.
Oh, yeah.
I thought he was great in this match. And not just the Daredevil stuff is great, but not just that. I thought that he still looked crisp in this match. Who knows how much longer that's going to be, because as we've said before in other sports, not just wrestling, nobody beats Father Time. Mm-hmm. So eventually that's going to diminish. So why wait? Go out on top. And I think Sting, that's what he wanted to do. Because if he wanted to wait, he made it very public this week that Tony Khan wanted him to have his last match at Wembley.
Yeah.
And he was like, I don't think I want to take it that far. I'd rather do it in Greensboro. Cool. And I'm glad that Tony Khan, and kudos to Tony Khan for allowing Sting to do it in Greensboro and not pushing the issue. Because as a promoter, he could have pushed that issue.
Oh, sure. I mean, he has the option to do it, but I think that Tony understands the legacy and wants Sting to call his own shot.
And here's the other thing. I don't think this is the last we've seen a Sting. Mm-hmm. Sting is going to become one of those guys that stops around AEW as like we see the legends come into WWE.
Yeah.
He's going to, I feel like that's going to be where Sting's place is. And that's great. Whenever like Darby needs an inspiration, Sting will be there to be like, hey, get yourself out of, get yourself up, kid. So I wouldn't be surprised if Sting doesn't make an appearance at Wembley, even if it's just a walk out Darby or do commentary. You know what I mean? I think, you're going to see him as that elder statesman, if you will. AEW, because it's a 5-year-old company, they don't have that lineage.
Right.
So with a guy like Sting, who was there for a lengthy period of time, has now won a championship there, finished his career at AEW at 29-0, never was beaten. Mm-hmm. I want to point that out. Overall record, 29-0. They've showed it 28-0 before the match, so obviously adding a match. I think that they finally got their elder statesman. So I'm okay with it. And it Sting's great.
Oh, yeah, he's great for the company. I mean, obviously, he had that renaissance of his career. I mean, we all thought that he was going to be done after WWE. We were shocked to see him come back, and let alone doing the stuff he was doing at his age with the injury history he had. So, I mean, this is a phenomenal way to go. And, yeah, I could definitely see him being an ambassador to AEW moving forward.
And I also want to give a shout out to Tony Khan, because one of two things happened tonight. There was a rumor earlier on, and Renee Paquette during the opening kept mentioning that the main event of the evening was going to be the three-way for the AEW World Title. A lot of people online were speculating, oh, maybe Sting said he'd step to the side for the world title, which I'm glad that didn't happen. That needed to be the main event. So either Tony Khan was messing with us to get some, traction, which is fine. I'm not upset about it, because that's the smart thing. Hey, make them think this is not going to be the main event. We'll let them think that all night. We'll get a little bit of social media buzz, and then we'll show our hand. Or he went, nah, listen, even if you don't want to go last, Sting, you're going last.
Yep.
And I feel like they was set up to go last the whole time. Because, listen, they use glass. Cleaning up glass is not easy, as we know from watching deathmatch wrestling. So, therefore, it's better to go on with the glass last.
Yes.
And the blood coverage and everything else like that. So, I think it was all set up. And like I said, kudos to Tony Khan. That was a really cool way of getting more buzz behind the event. Either way. So, and once again, he deserved the main event because, let's be honest, we were all there in the 16,000 plus, which was it was awesome to see that crowd there. They were ruckus all night. That Greensboro crowd, I hope they go back to Greensboro. Hopefully it'll be as big of a crowd because I think besides the Sting match, everything else was great. You had a match of the year candidate match, technically two, because I would say, even though I think it wasn't the best of the night, it was still top tier with Bryan Danielson and Eddie Kingston. And then you have, Will Ospreay versus, Takeshita. Amazing. Just amazing. It was a great night. I thought all the way around. We said that they needed to hit a home run. You can go, hey, we're booking Sting, and this is what's getting some people in the door. But then you had to show a strong card, and I think they did that.
No, they absolutely ended on a high note with this. This was one of their better pay-per-views they've done in 5 years, from top to bottom. And I really think they hit the marks they needed to. Were some matches predictable? Yeah, but you know what? Still entertaining. Still felt like I got my money's worth.
But they needed to be.
Yeah.
They needed, like Wardlow had to win.
Yeah, I mean, like I say, the only way if you wanted to do it for shock value was Hook. Because obviously the history with him and Samoa Joe.
Right, but even then.
But yeah, that's the whole thing.
You're throwing away a storyline.
Agreed.
So I think he made the right decisions. And even though we knew who was going to win, pretty much, that 8-man tag was fun.
Oh, yeah, the 8-man scramble was fun, yeah.
I enjoyed it a lot.
Oh,
there was a spot with the meaty men, and then there was a spot with the smaller guys, and then they were all mixing it in.
It was
it was a fun match, and it was good. I can't complain about. I don't think that there was a bad match on the main card. I don't think that there was a match where I was like, oh, that was bad.
Not on the main card, no.
I every match I thought was, and when it started steamroll, the first match, nice little opener, get you going. Second match, you got Danielson and Kingston.
Yeah.
Ooh, boy, that set the pace. And from there,
yep,
the pace was kept. And I thought it was, once again, home run. Kudos to Tony Khan and AEW. When the light was the brightest on them, they showed up and showed out. We said that about All In, and they did it there as well. All In was a great pay-per-view. This, I think, was possibly even better than All In.
Yeah.
As far as top, there's just, I'm not saying the All In was bad. It was great, but this pay-per-view just, I feel like
top to bottom, yeah.
I feel like every match delivered, and I feel like it was in the right order. You know what I mean?
Yes.
You had matches, so even the matches where it was a high speed, there would be a high speed match after. So perfect. I think this was kudos. That's all I can say. This was a step in the right direction for Tony Khan and company going forward. So hopefully that's what we get in the future. Of course, you already mentioned April 21st, which is also a Sunday. AEW Dynasty will be happening, coming from St. Louis, Missouri. So we'll be keeping our eyes on that as that builds towards Dynasty. But Ken, in closing, anything you want to say about AEW's Revolution 2024?
One of their better shows in recent memory. Not going to lie about it. I think if you haven't seen it live, I would try catching the replay on Fight or / Triller TV. And definitely, really, if you want to find why AEW has the buzz it does, go watch the Will Ospreay match. That is probably one of the most perfect AEW matches you're going to see.
Absolutely. I agree with you wholeheartedly. And I also wanted to throw it out there. We have, what we have to do? Plug where we're going to be at. So, Ken, let the fine folks know how to find yourself in the ODPH podcast.
Very simple. We like QR codes here at Nerd Initiative, so you definitely want to make sure you're clicking on the QR codes. And you can find out what I'm doing with the rest of my team right then and there. We got a lot of stuff lined up over the next couple of weeks. So if you want to talk a parlay of topics, look no further than the ODPH.
Of course, if you want to get a hold of me, go to the QR code right there, 3fmpodcast.com. Check it out. You got all of our information there as well. Of course, every Thursday night, if you want more pro wrestling action, tune in here to the Nerd Initiative channel for Wrestling Night Live. That's 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time every Thursday night on the Nerd Initiative YouTube channel. And then, of course, every Tuesday night, you can join Ken and the Comics Bullpen as they talk comics, interview comic guys, talk about comic arts, some of the biggest ones of all time on Turn of Page, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time Tuesdays. And then, of course, every Wednesday, well, Tuesday for the time being, until DC switches over purposely.
Summertime.
And then Wednesdays, new comic book day. Check out those comic book reviews. You will not be disappointed. And of course, you got to visit us at the home of pop culture positivity, nerdinitiative.com. All the fandoms are there. And if your fandom's out there, it will be there by the end of 2024. And because I'm contractually obligated to say so, we have Nerd Initiative merch. Go to that link. You can support the brand. Wrestling Night Live and NI Wrestling stuff is up if you would like to support that as well. And last but certainly not least, we have the homework assignment. If you're watching us right now on YouTube, well, if you're watching us not on YouTube, wherever you're watching us, you should be following Nerd Initiative. But go over to the YouTube channel, and if you're already on YouTube, go ahead and do this. Smash the subscribe button, click the bell icon for notifications, and click that thumbs up to let the fine folks in the office know that you want more wrestling content from Nerd Initiative. With that being said, Ken, it's been a long night. It's been a fun night, but it is time to say good night. So, for all of myself, for Ken M, and all of us at NI Wrestling, and for all of you who enjoyed AEW's Revolution 2024, we say good night, take care of yourselves, and later, wrestling fans!